Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 2 Point Conversion on the Going for Two live network. No, we're not week 2. That was 3 weeks ago. We're already in week 5 here for the Saints Chiefs game. My name is Kyle Senra, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Gladys. How are you
It's my
doing?
fault we're late. I'm sorry. I'm good. How are you guys? How's everyone? Hi, Jamie. Cleveland still sucks.
Big news! Breaking news! Cleveland
Breaking
Browns aren't
news.
very good.
And they're
Jamie's
going to
actually not in the
keep
chat yet,
Deshaun
but
Watson.
if you would like us to say hello to you, feel free to join the Going for Two Live YouTube page, live chat there. So head over to the Going for Two Live YouTube channel. You'll see our video here for this Monday night football game. We're also on Twitch and Facebook, so we can get your comments from there. Yeah.
Go on YouTube and smash that like button. Just smash it. Just like Cleveland got smashed yesterday.
I mean, can you blame them? It's the probable MVP right now, rookie Jaden Daniels beating them. So that's going to happen.
Oh, my God. Oh, I wonder who picked him in our Dynasty League. Oh, wait, that was me. I love Jaden Daniels. I loved him in LSU. I love him. Love.
I think he is my favorite NFL player right now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he is. I need to sit up straight.
I've ranked him up as high as QB2 in Dynasty, and after another stinker week by Josh Allen,
dude,
I'm strongly considering putting Daniels at 1. So
Josh Allen had a day. He had a day.
He actually didn't have that bad of a game as he did the week before. He's not finishing his QB. Like he's got 2 QB1 finishes, and then the rest are like outside the top 15. So QB1 overall finishes. So it's like so boomer bust, and it's amazing.
But I think he had a bad day yesterday. I think it was very bad. I think it's historically bad for him.
Oh, I think from a real football perspective, it was worse than from a fantasy perspective. 9 completions. Just he got the touchdowns finally, and that was eluding him the previous weeks where he may not have played as bad, but fantasy wise finished awful. So he kind of salvaged his fantasy day, but it was real NFL. There's maybe some real concern there, but luckily for them, that division sucks so much that they probably don't have to worry. But
that's true too.
They've also like won the division every year, made the playoffs every year. So for them, it's all they're worried about is the playoffs. So
well, I mean, if they, it was bad. It was, and it looked worse because CJ Stroud looked so good. So CJ Stroud's, if only he could like have some rushing floor, I would love him too, but no.
Yeah, maybe not again, real life quarterback versus fantasy quarterback. I mean, you could say the same thing about the quarterback tonight, Patrick Mahomes. I still consider him the best quarterback in the NFL, real life wise, but fantasy, he has been so far from that. I don't even think he has 1 week yet as a QB1. It might be this week with everyone else disappointing, except for Lamar, Burrow, and Jaden.
Burrow.
Actually, even Jaden wasn't like a super amazing performance. Like I ranked him as QB3 this week, and I don't think he's going to finish there. So he technically disappointed too, but it's still a pretty good game. 20 points, 24 points, whatever, depending on the scoring settings.
Mahomes hasn't even. I would say in real life he hasn't been that great. I mean, granted, he has no like Hollywood got hurt early, and then Pacheco got hurt, and then like him and the Rams, they have just people falling by the wayside. But I mean, he's Mahomes, so you expect. Oh, and Miami too. You expect them to to overcome such obstacles, and they haven't, which is really sad, I think. Which really makes me think, is it McDaniel or was it Tua all along? I don't know.
Well, I know there's a lot of stats that point to Tua's ability to throw the ball quickly, but also throw the ball downfield.
Right.
Is a skill set that not a lot of quarterbacks have. I mean, to be fair, that's honestly probably Tom Brady's greatest like physical skill set is quick throw ability, but also to do it accurately, and he could like make every throw on the field. Like Tom Brady's arm, you might not see cannon of an arm compared to like a Josh Allen. He could huck it pretty deep pretty accurately. Like there was no throw Brady couldn't make, and it seems like that's also the case with Tua. He can make every throw. He might not do it. He doesn't necessarily look as amazing doing it as Mahomes and Rodgers, being able to throw from different platforms. But his skill set is that he doesn't have to scramble in the pocket if he can just get it out so quickly. And it seems like the Miami offense is contingent upon that and doesn't have the quarterbacks with like Tua's exact skill set are so rare. Again, they quickly throw it downfield accurately. Like that's not really even Rodgers and Mahomes, that's not really their game set. Like they wouldn't necessarily fit well in this Miami offense either, because for them it's so much about the play extension, being able to throw on the run, throw from different platforms, evade the pressure that way. Tua's a lot like Tom Brady, maybe more like Tom Brady than really any other quarterback we have in the NFL. That's super. You can't really replace him. Like it's to be fair, McDaniel built the offense entirely around Tua's skill set, which is what we love about offensive coordinators. Again,
I think what we love about offensive coordinators is their ability to build an offense around any of their personnel. LaFleur, for instance, the Green Bay, like that offense was built around Love, but when Love went down, he readjusted and made it. You know what I made it for Willis.
Yeah, and that, like LaFleur says, he didn't really change the playbook itself. They kept the same playbook.
I don't believe him. I
think what LaFleur adjusted is how he called the playbook. That's where he made the changes. He called it differently than when Love was in. I'm gonna have these plays available if we need them, but I'm not gonna go to them as readily. Like so, Matt LaFleur himself adjusted how he was calling the plays, but he didn't really change the design of the offense, which I think actually helped because it helped the offense get consistency. So the receivers weren't having to relearn almost a new offense on the fly. You figure out, okay, what can Malik Willis do in this offense? And I'll gear my play calling towards that. And so I think that's maybe where the change needs to be made. So with Mike McDaniels is, okay, with my current offense the way it is, what can Tyler Huntley do the best? And I have to focus those types of plays. I think that's maybe the more of the adjustment that needs to be made. Now, we've also seen coordinators. We'll go to Lamar Jackson's rookie season with Greg Roman. I'm pretty sure it was Greg Roman right from the get-go. They had Flacco start the year at the start, and then he got injured, and Lamar came in, or Flacco was playing so poorly that they benched him for Lamar. That's when they totally changed the offense. You could tell it looked completely different. So we've also seen NFL offenses be able to do that and do that with success because, like, the Ravens weren't necessarily in a playoff spot when Lamar took over. And guess what? As a rookie, he brought them to the playoffs. They didn't win a game in the playoffs, lost to Phillip Rivers, which I believe was Phillip Rivers' last win with the Chargers. But they still showed successfully that you can change an offense midseason. Maybe that is, you can do it two ways, right? You keep the same offense but adjust the play calling, or totally change the offense. And maybe Huntley requires that you change the offense entirely.
Even an adjustment is a change in the offense. I mean, my argument would be that Steichen changing, like he's had to do it twice. He had to change last year when Richardson went down to benefit Minshew's abilities, and then he had to do it this year again with Flacco. Like, there are no quarterbacks with Richardson's athletic skill set. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure. Like, you're not going to design runs for Joe Flacco like you did Richardson
or Minshew.
To that point, like, there wasn't a lot of designed runs from Malik Willis. It seemed like he was, I'm going to stay in the pocket, and when he ran, it was usually a scramble, right? So like he had, maybe he wouldn't go through as many reads as Love would, and he would scramble first. But LaFleur didn't really just, I'm just going to design you a bunch of runs. I think, again, it's keep consistency with the offense, but I also think he did that for Malik Willis to help prove that he can be a quarterback from the pocket, right? Like, because now the narrative around Willis has changed entirely, and LaFleur, like, not really catering the offense to just him as a runner, kind of allowed him to kind of break that narrative. Oh, he has to be running all the time. He doesn't. So you can also, again, it's working with the quarterback, and it's just amazing because Huntley hasn't been there that long, right? So it's not like we can use the excuse, he wasn't there in training camp, they can't do it. Well, neither was Malik Willis. So
right. I just think that, oh my God, hold on. Jack's head is so big, and he's gonna knock my laptop off.
No.
I just think that.
Hold on, better than Dontavian Wicks does. Just have to throw that in there.
Yeah, poor Dontavian. I just think that this year, maybe because of all the injuries and it may be because I think people are noticing more that how important offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and coaches are comparably to talent. Like you can have all the talent in the world, Trevor Lawrence, but if your head coach and your offensive coordinator suck, I mean, you're really handcuffed to what you can and can't do. You know what I mean? So I think this year, although we should have like read, I mean, Urban Meyer was kind of an isolated incident, so it wasn't expandable. But this year it's more expandable because you see these coaches that are adapting to events that are happening that they can't control, and you see the coaches that have changed. Like I think week 3, Sean Payton decided that he would have to adjust his offense for Bo Nix, that Bo Nix wasn't going to fit into quite the scheme. That and the fact that I think that, especially here in Denver, the whole talk was how Vance Joseph was out coaching Sean Payton, which we know Sean Payton wouldn't take very kindly to that. So he came out and said, well, we're going to have to do some things different, which, duh. I mean,
and I think part of it though is you also figure out what is working, because like one thing I've noticed in my goal line guide and tracking all the plays from inside the 5, like the Broncos really don't want Bo Nix throwing in the red zone. They feel like they can run, and to be fair, they have a winning record. Like they've had success rushing touchdowns, and honestly, they like the ball in Bo Nix's hands running into the end zone rather than throwing when they get close to the end zone, it seems. So like, okay, that part we'll keep, but other parts may be different. I will say, Gladys, I think you didn't necessarily ask this, but I wonder if you're thinking this, like, is Mike McDaniel overrated? Because I think I might buy into that argument that he's not an elite tier head coach. Like I think he's good, but I don't think he's great. I think he's maybe been given too much credit, and maybe Tua hasn't been given enough credit for his skill set.
I think I asked that question in my article last week.
Okay, so what is the answer? Do you think he is overrated now that you've asked people and given time to think about it?
I think we gave Mike McDaniel way too much credit of being this offensive genius when you had Tua, who struggled under Flores, but I mean there were reasons for that. But you had Tua and you have Tyreek and you have Waddle and you have HN. And now that Tua is taken away, the main cog in that plan, you're failing. You're not. That game on Monday, was it last Monday night they played that we watched?
Yeah, remember we did the game. We previewed that game. You picked a few good bets for that when you went. You actually went 2 for 3 in both games. So
that game, it was so bad, and it wasn't all Tyler Huntley's fault. I mean, he was doing things that you don't necessarily associate with Tyler Huntley doing, and that's a coach thing. I mean, I just think that people need to start looking towards offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators and head coaches and saying, hey, maybe these people weren't put in a position to succeed no matter how
talented they are.
Yeah, exactly. Chicago.
I will say, I think, like, I don't think Mike McDaniel's like a top 5, maybe even top 10 coach, but I also don't think he's a bottom 10 coach. He's got some good innovative things, the way he's using motion. And I know I was listening to the Packers broadcast. Tony Romo was talking about it this weekend, how Matt LaFleur has kind of taken that from Mike McDaniel. Matt LaFleur has always really used motion a lot in his offense, but now he's using it and making sure the motion's happening at the point of the snap. And that was something that Mike McDaniel really brought, like how they were using motion in a different way than other teams. And copycat league, right? They're seeing them have success. So he's got that innovative aspect that he can figure things out. He's got really smart to it. But okay, just because you can innovate, but you also have to execute in games, right? That's you really need both to be an elite coach. Like that's what makes a Belichick or an Andy Reid, right? And McDaniel's quite not on that level. Certainly, we'd say Matt LaFleur or the 5-0 undefeated Vikings with Sam Darnold. I think Kevin O'Connell he's been given a lot of praise of late, and it feels like it's deserved. Like he's got maybe the best out of Kirk Cousins we've ever seen. Thursday night was a pretty monster fantasy performance from Cousins.
Ugh.
Oh, I ranked him so low, man. My
on my bench,
awful this year.
my bench, 2 benches. Kirk Cousins was.
You know what? I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't roster him anywhere. I didn't believe in him coming off the Achilles. So I've got more Michael Penix than I do Kirk Cousins. And I didn't have to worry about that. He was my QB 23 in my ranking, so I can't blame you for benching him. I didn't think he was going to do that well. So.
Yeah, I mean, there are examples of Sam Darnold, Justin Fields. The question is, would Caleb have been better if he had been picked by Washington and Cliff Kingsbury? And I think that the reason Cliff Kingsbury left Raiders after he said he was going to be OC was because he knew he wasn't going to work with Minshew, and he couldn't do anything with Minshew, and he couldn't do anything with O'Connell. He went to where he knew that there would be a player that he could design a system for.
If the Raiders drafted Michael Penix, or they were like considering taking a quarterback, they would. Yeah. But then he's like, you know what? I know they're going to take a quarterback.
I know they're going to take their second pick, so I'm going to go there, and it's worked out. I think it's a valid question to ask if. Maybe I don't know about.
Well, and I think the opposite. Would Jaden Daniels be this good on the Bears? I love Jaden Daniels. Again, we were talking off camera. He's probably now my new favorite NFL player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's that good on the Bears because they've shown the ability to develop. I mean, Caleb is maybe overcoming some of that. He has looked better. This was against the Panthers, so.
Well, I think that
Panthers and Titans, like, okay, he's beating some of the worst teams in the league. That's great. You can do that, but.
His stats have got incrementally better, like each game. Like he is getting better.
It does look like you can see it too in watching the game.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Decisions.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's no preseason to speak of. They don't play like the starters in preseason, and they don't have the training camps that they used to. I honestly think that it takes it has to take 3-4 games, especially for a rookie to get acclimated. Now, Jaden Daniels. I mean, he wasn't really that great his first couple games. You know what I mean? You can see that he's getting better too, which is kind of scary.
Week 1 was a great fantasy game because he rushed it into the end zone a couple times. But yeah, overall passing wasn't so great. Yeah.
Right. And you can just, I don't know what podcast I was listening to, but they were saying you can tell week 1, he would just duck his head and run when he had to. And now he's looking up to throw the ball downfield when he's running, which is, something that you expect someone to get incrementally better, and I think that I mean I understand why they limited the training camp, and I understand why they're limited preseason, but I don't think it's helping. I mean all these.
It's maybe helping we're not seeing these massive injuries in preseason.
Yeah, but we're seeing a lot of soft tissue injuries like hamstring pulls.
Yeah, less ACL tears, but some of the ones that aren't as long term, right? But,
Right. So I mean. Tomato, I guess.
No, for sure. So trying to solve one problem, you might cause another problem, right? So trying to solve injuries, but then
the butterfly effect. I love that. I don't love the movie, but I love the theory behind it.
I actually like the movie.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't think it was awful. I'm kind of a sucker for time travel movies, so anything that
I love time travel movies, but this had a little bit more gore than I would like in my time travel movie.
Yeah. That's true. I could tell why. I think honestly, Victoria showed it to me for the first time.
Oh yeah,
and I could tell why she likes. She's kind of a gore person. So yeah,
she is a gore person.
Oh yeah.
Has she seen The Substance? Demi Moore.
I'll ask her about it, but I don't.
Yeah, it's body horror. It's body horror times 10. It's the grossest movie ever.
Okay.
Well, not ever. Well, probably ever. Yeah. Maybe.
And I've seen Cannibal Holocaust. That was pretty disturbing.
One of my boss showed me the Winnie the Pooh murder movie.
I've seen trailers for that.
From it. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Okay, yeah. They wouldn't let me out of the office until I watched it. And part 1 and part 2 trailers, and it's ridiculous that someone what kind of mind thinks like that. I don't want to know.
Very creative, like Mike McDaniel, maybe.
It's a rhetorical question. I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, we don't want to delve into that person's psyche.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Do we delve into this Monday Night Football game? I guess we've been going for almost half an hour. It's funny because last couple of weeks we've been doing double headers. Okay, we got 2 games to go through, so we got to make sure to get to. Now it's like, oh, there's only one game. We can relax. We can talk about whatever, which is great. I love talking. You want to get into Monday night, or is there another topic?
No, Monday night's fine. I lost my prop bet though. Hold please. You go ahead and talk. I'll find it again.
Well, okay, I'll introduce the game. The New Orleans Saints facing the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 5.5, and the higher lower on the game is 42.5. I checked earlier. I'm actually going to check right now just to make sure that it's still that. No, back to 43.5. It's been fluctuating all day.
It's 43 now?
Yeah, it's 43.5 again.
Oh wait,
I've seen both lines all day. So
okay. Which line did
Dan said 43, which I didn't see, so he's in the middle. So he said he's going lower. So we'll start off with that. I think 43.5 that's just high enough to make me go lower as well. So I'm going to agree with Dan on that one, going lower than 43.5. So we'll start with the higher lowers, Gladys.
You two are going lower?
Yeah.
Just statistically, I'm going to go higher then.
Well, I mean, you are leading right now. I guess we should preview that. Is that Gladys is 500, 9-9 for the year, whereas Dan and I are both 6-12. So
yeah, I'm gonna go higher.
You're 3-3 on each category too, so it's well balanced. You've gotten 3 spreads right, 3 wrong, 3 higher lowers right, 3 wrong, and same with the props. I'm 2-4 for all of them, so I'm also very balanced. Dan is doing he's equal in props. He's 3-3, but 1-5 in the spreads. So, which makes sense that Dan tends to always be stronger with the props. That's why he does his prop show, which again, going for 2 live doesn't just have the 2-point conversion. Mini great shows, more than 2 even, but even more than twice a week, you'll see Dan doing his prop shows. He'll do one for Thursday. That'll drop on Thursdays for Thursday Night Football, a Sunday prop for the Sunday, or Sunday show for the Sunday props, and then just this morning dropped a Monday show for this Monday Night Football game. Anyway, so he's really strong with the props. That's sort of his thing now. He hates Dynasty. He hates doing shows like this. No, he would do this if he could. It's schedule conflicts. Miss Dan, but still glad to get Dan's contributions to the poll. So Dan and I are both going lower. Gladys going higher than the 43.5.
Yep.
Do you want to go spreads next or player props?
Spread. It's at 5 now, but we're going 5.5.
Oh, I actually didn't check that one. See, I'm still seeing 5.5. So
okay,
take it at 5.5.
Yeah, we'll stick with 5.5. I'm gonna go Saints. I'm giving Saints the points.
All right, so it's actually going to end up being a unanimous pick because I'm also going with the Saints. Dan also taking the Saints at 5.5 point underdogs. So Chiefs win by less than 6. We get this correct. Not so good with the unanimous bets this year. We're 1-4 as a group on these unanimous bets. I think that includes 3 spreads, or is it just 2 spreads? Actually, never mind. It's a lot of higher lowers. Never mind.
Okay.
But last time we all had the same spread, it was the Eagles, which, funny enough, was also 5.5, but they were 5.5 point favorites in that week 2 matchup against the Falcons, which we would have had if they didn't allow the last touchdown drive. We totally had it with a minute to go, and then the Eagles defense really screwed us. So maybe the Saints defense will screw us tonight. Who knows? Or maybe they'll bring us to victory. That should be great. I know for myself, we talked about this before the show. I was looking, and all the margin of victories for the Chiefs games this year: 6 points, 5 points, 6 points, 1 point. So they're just barely hitting that 5.5. Like the times they've done it, they just barely hit it. So it's tough to have super confidence with the Chiefs at that high of a spread. So that was kind of my thinking of going with the Saints as underdogs. I don't know if you want to expand on that or not.
Sorry, Missy's upset. Hold, please.
So Missy's going Chiefs then? Like, mad at all of us. Like, what are you all talking about? Go with Mahomes and Kelsey.
Probably because she's Satan. So yeah, just fits.
I was gonna say Satan or a Swiftie, either way. But
Satan. She's not a Swiftie. Jack's a Swiftie.
Okay. So is Jack also going Chiefs?
No.
Oh, okay. Swiftie,
but he does like Dan's Travis Kelce prop. He was okay with that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start there with the props. Dan announced us he's taking Travis Kelce higher than 61.5 receiving yards. And I guess, spoiler alert, that is one of the props he talks about in his Monday show. I'll let people watch the video for the other two. But yeah, Travis Kelce higher than 61.5 receiving yards. I think one of the things you talk about the video, just Rasheed Rice. Where are the targets going to go? Where are the yards going to go?
Yep. So, yeah. I'm going to go Chris Jones higher than a half a sack.
Ooh, a defensive prop. Okay, a sack prop. I don't think we haven't had a sack prop yet this year, have we?
Nope.
Half a sack.
Half a sack higher.
Wow, that's awesome. Did we even? I'm going to go back to last year. I don't even know if we had any sack props last year.
I think I took a sack prop last year. Didn't I?
I'm looking through. No, maybe the year before. I've got 2022 info as well. I'm not seeing any. Maybe I missed one. But yeah, no. This is great. This is great audio for people. Actually, we don't turn this into an audio podcast because the game happens. So yeah, I guess we can do whatever we want. Yeah, I'm not saying anything, but yeah. It's a very rarely used sack prop. So way to go, Gladys. Hope you get it.
That's what I do.
All right. Well, something that I guess kind of unprecedented for us so far this year. I mean, there's a few props I was thinking of. Actually, I want to ask you what's on Underdog right now, because I saw a Xavier Worthy 3.5 reception prop, and then when I was going back to look at other stuff, it was gone. So have they changed that line at all, or is it just not available? Xavier Worthy.
Xavier Worthy. What was it that you saw?
I saw 3.5 receptions.
There are no reception props for Worthy.
Yeah,
there's
they
rushing,
removed it.
Rushing yards, rushing.
Too many people were smashing the over without Rice, and so they removed it probably.
Yeah, there's no. Wait.
Okay. And it's
yeah, it is. Yeah. 3.5 receptions.
It is interesting because he hasn't hit 4 catches yet this year, so they are pricing it with that Rice injury in mind. So I have considered that one.
There's also 4.5. Wait, what is this? I think there's 4.5 receiving for the first quarter. That's interesting. Wouldn't do it, but it's interesting.
4.5 receiving yards?
I think so. Yeah. Hold please.
For Worthy. That's interesting.
So if you what? Hold on, I lost it because I went back to.
Oh, that's okay. No worries.
First half. What did I just say? 4.5.
4.5 receiving yards in the first quarter. I thought you said. It was the first half.
Yep. 4.5 receiving first quarter. And then the first half. Wait, I didn't understand this. This is like really weird.
But, Underdog, very weird. But join up on Underdog with our promo code. GF2.
Why would
what this QR code?
If it's 3.5 for.
It's 3.5 receptions. I wonder if the other lines are yards.
No. Oh. 4.5 receiving yards the first quarter?
Yeah. I wonder if that's
not letting me open it up.
They might have taken them off. They're talking about them now. Like we can't. No, it's too valuable. Anyway, it is tricky to know like what game is his role going to expand in. It might be this game, but maybe it's Marshawn Lattimore playing. Maybe that's not the best game to bet on. There were a few other lines that I was liking. Honestly,
I'm sorry. What was Dan's for Travis Kelce? How many receiving yards?
61.5.
61. Okay.
I kind of like both quarterback completions lower. I saw Mahomes at 22.5 and Carr at 20.5. Taking a shot there, I think that we're going with the lower on the over/under as well. That the game might not be as high scoring. So okay. I was considering those. We really don't like going lower on props though. I definitely don't. And from the fact that all year we've all just taken higher, and even last year, there's occasionally someone who would go with a lower on something, but for the most part, actually it tended to be you. You had a lot of success picking the lowers at times, but then you shifted late in the year to hires. Dan and I pretty much exclusively, we did just exclusively pick hires last year. So the seldom used lower, at least not for basically a full calendar year. I'm considering going there. A couple of running back props too. Jamal Williams, 14.5 rushing yards. Without Taysom Hill, I think he gets more opportunities. In the 2 games without Taysom Hill, he had over 30 of rushing yards both games, and then fell far below the 14.5 the 2 games with Taysom Hill more recently. Taysom Hill out, kind of like that Jamal Williams 14.5 rushing yards, but the Chiefs defense is so good that they could actually just prevent them from running. So I'm a little scared of that one. In fact, if anything, I kind of like Kareem Hunt receiving yards at 12.5.
I saw that. Yeah.
I think he had 16 last week. Second week there, is he even more likely to get more involved in the receiving game? So I'm kind of debating between that or one of the quarterbacks under on their completions. I haven't quite decided. How much time do I have? Oh, I still got a half hour. I'll talk through them. Again, part of me is I've done the running back receiving props a lot this year. Maybe I'm kind of overdoing it, so that's why I'm really leaning, taking a risk and going something different, because man, I'm not doing so great. Like, I want to catch back up to Gladys, so maybe I have to take a different approach at this and go with something I believe will hit lower. As much as
Are there no Canadians playing tonight?
No, not no.
Damn it.
No Canadians in this one. And you know what? Holland hit 2 assisted tackles, so I should have gone with the 1.5 assisted, and that's why, because I don't like going the solo or assist tackles. I prefer to always bet the combined tackles, and so that was what made me uncomfortable, was going with something I don't usually go with. I should have gone out of my comfort zone with something I wasn't used to, right? So I kind of, is that the lesson to take and go with one of these lower on a prop for once, which is totally out of my comfort zone? So yeah.
I saw that. I thought of you. I saw that.
You know what? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go Derek Carr under 20.5 completions.
Under 20.5 completions? Oh, yes. That's right. You guys are going lower, though. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm telling you, it's scoring kind of weak, though.
Yep. I'll probably go 0-3 this week. That's okay.
That's all right. I set Kirk Cousins in 2 leagues. What else could happen? What else could go wrong? Oh, Steelers lost. Besides that, not much.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got through all our props. That was pretty quick. So we can go back to rambling and ranting about random stuff again if you want. Do you have any other?
The Steelers losing to the Cowboys. It's ridiculous.
Sorry.
Do you know? Wait, what is your prop again? Completions or attempts?
Completions.
Oh, that might be good. Okay.
You know what? I was looking at pass attempts too as not being a bad one either to pick with, but yeah. Well, I noticed both quarterbacks, their current lines for completions, they've hit the under that number 3 times this year and only hit over once. So, they're not often hitting those. Like they're setting them at spots where it's it forces this game to be more of a shootout for them to hit those. It seems so.
I think,
and I know you think it will because we are taking the higher at least relative to what we're thinking. But I guess as picking the lower, kind of makes sense to go with lower on these completions for one of them. And again, I could debate either really. Mahomes at 22.5 completions. For some reason, I feel like I'd rather bet against Derek Carr than bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
But it have anything to do with the quality of quarterback, just entirely. Nothing to do with any of their weapons. Just.
Well, I mean, I think it has a little bit to do with the defense too. Like Spagnuolo usually adjusts his defenses to the quarterback that he's playing, and if they can eliminate Carr's play actions, then I think it's a good bet. However, all Carr's weapons except for Taysom Hill, which, whatever, are healthy, relatively speaking, and I'm betting that this game's going to surprise people, kind of like, I don't know, the Vegas-Denver game, and score a lot more points than people expected.
Yeah, that's true. Those were like the 2 teams with like the lowest higher unders. I definitely picked up the Broncos defense in the league, thinking, oh yeah, Raiders, they suck. What did they give me? Actually, they gave me 17 points. That was a good. I lost this week, but I guess it's not because of my fantasy defense. Essentially outscored everyone on my team except for Baker Mayfield. So.
Wait, they only scored 17 points in your league?
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm in a league where they have, like, 30 points. Didn't they have, like, they had a pick 6, right?
Yeah.
And didn't he have didn't what's his face O'Connell have an interception too? So they had like
they had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
A touchdown and 3 sacks. Yeah, 17 points in this one.
That's the Broncos, and they scored 36 points. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess Well,
yeah,
I don't play in that scoring setting. Now, who do the Broncos have this week? I think it's like the Chargers. Yeah. I might keep them, but I also might drop them.
Well, I mean, Minnesota's on a bye, so I have to find another defense.
Well, in the other league I have defenses in, it's the Dolphins defense. Again, they're on bye, so.
You have the Dolphins defense? Oh, against.
They were playing against the Patriots. It was actually back-to-back weeks. Oh, they're playing Will Levis. Oh, they're playing Jacoby Brissett.
Dude, I will not take the Jacoby Brissett slander.
Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, he's not that bad, but the Patriots aren't that good.
That offensive line's a sieve. I mean, it's like porous.
Their receivers aren't very good either.
They don't really have receivers. Like, they only have Polk. Like, seriously, they have.
Well, I mean, they've got guys. And Polk's not even that good, right? Like,
no. Yeah.
Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, KJ Osborne, I think, was out. So then it went, and like Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne is good, but coming off the torn ACL, like I don't know how much we can expect from him this year. They definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's probably. I think it's without a doubt the worst receiving core. That's where, in theory, Davante Adams should go there because they need him more than any other team needs him. But
he's not going there.
Well, exactly. He would never want to go there.
What?
You know what? Okay, back to our love for Jaden Daniels. Davante Adams on the Commanders. Wouldn't that just be unreal? They could really use a really good receiver like that. That helps Daniels out. You'd love it for the FBC Dynasty. I'd love it for the Moneyballers League.
Is this? It would really help you out. Is that what we're going with this?
Oh, it would help out Jaden Daniels tremendously. He's my favorite player. I want that. It's entirely bias based, but I think it would help out Washington. Like that seems like that could be something that like that dynamic could really help unlock Jaden Daniels even further.
I don't
know if it's the best for Adams, but I think it's like that would be a really interesting situation that no one's talked about. So I want to be the first one to talk about it. So when it happens, like I told you, he's going to Washington. Probably not going to happen. He's probably going to go to the Jets.
I don't know what they have. Scary Terry. Who's their wide receiver too?
Well, I think in theory it's Noah Brown, but he's been injured the last couple of weeks, so it's like a combination of like Luke McCaffrey, Olamide Zaccheaus, Diami Brown caught the long touchdown this past week.
Yeah.
Zaccheaus, I think, had 6 catches the week before, but it wasn't used as much this past week. Saw him out there on punt returns and kickoff returns.
I know he wants to go somewhere where he's not catching the ball in the middle and getting hit all the time because that was his main complaint, that they were killing him, which.
Well, I think he's also he's tired of losing.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, to be fair,
everyone's tired of losing. I mean, everyone that loses is tired of losing.
He went there to play with Derek Carr, right?
And he was a Taco Bell in his house, so.
He's let it be known that he wanted to play with Derek Carr, right? And then he gets there, and then Carr's gone. And you know what? Yeah, you're right. He was complaining about the hits being taken when he was with Derek Carr. So I'm shocked that he's mentioned the Saints again. You got to play with Aaron Rodgers. Why do you want to play with Derek Carr so badly? You know what a really good quarterback's supposed to be. There are a lot of other quarterbacks in the NFL other than Derek Carr. And Jaden Daniels would be a significant, a significant improvement over Derek Carr. I said.
Have you listened? Amon-Ra and his brother, Equanimous, have a podcast.
I've seen some clips.
And Amon-Ra, or I can't remember which one said it, but one of them is adamant that Adams does not want to play with Carr. He does not want to go back to a Carr experience. He wants to play with Aaron Rodgers.
You see, that sounds like Equanimous because he's played with Aaron Rodgers. And Equanimous in his mind, he's seen other quarterbacks other than Aaron Rodgers. And in his mind, he's probably thinking, how the hell could you want to play with Carr if you know how good Aaron Rodgers is, man? I wish I got more passes from Aaron Rodgers when I was on his own team, let alone now when I'm not. is he even like is he even on a team right now? Like, does
yeah, he is actually.
He's still in the Bears.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought the Bears cut him.
They cut him?
He's on the Saints, actually. Yeah, the Bears cut him at the end of training camp, and I guess he got picked up by the Saints. Oh my God. There's no way that could be Equanimous on the podcast saying that if he is currently teammates with Derek Carr. That had to be Amon-Ra. God.
I don't remember.
Although Equanimous was always never known as like the genius guy, right? Like,
I remember one of them was saying, like, when it started, that they were naming the teams, or actually they were naming the quarterbacks that he wanted to play with, and one of them said Carr, and the other one's like, no, he doesn't. No way he wants to go there. So maybe it was Equanimous that said Carr, and then Amon-Ra was like,
that would make way more sense, because if Equanimous said the opposite, he probably wouldn't be on the Saints right now.
Yeah.
Now, well, I mean, I didn't see the podcast until you mentioned it, so maybe the Saints coaches and brass also didn't. Dennis Allen doesn't seem like the most aware guy. Like, he would, what's a podcast?
Exactly. Like, Dennis Allen.
We're picking Dennis Allen tonight, though. I guess. Never mind. We're changing to the Saints. We're
not picking Dennis Allen. We're picking Kansas City not to cover.
Yeah,
not the same thing. Not the same thing.
That's how we live with the decision. That's how we made the decision in the first place.
Yeah, I'm not. I would never pick Dennis Allen. He's no.
I will say Dennis Allen's probably better than Matt Eberflus, in that Dennis Allen knows how to.
That is such a low bar.
Well, it is
such a low bar.
Because I think getting Clint Kubiak seems like that was one of the best decisions the Saints made all offseason. Like, draft, free agency, everything. Just choosing their, like you mentioned, getting a good offensive coordinator there, especially when you have a defensive-minded head coach. You really need that strong offensive mind that can A, design a good offense, and B, teach it to the players. And it seems like Clint Kubiak can do that really well. Jamie pulls a Gladys by being late. Just kidding.
And hi, Jamie.
He's super late, so
he didn't hear my diss. Damn it, Jamie! You have to listen to the beginning of the show. You have to go back and listen to it.
I think Jamie knows the Browns suck. I don't think he needs you to tell him, though.
Clint Kubiak, I think, also listens to the players, and I don't know that Eberflus ever did. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he listens and he's like, oh, so Caleb and DJ Moore, who needs to stop pouting on the sidelines, first of all, and DJ Moore and Rome, these are what they want to do. This is what they can do better. Let's try that out. And I think that helps. That's one of the reasons that Williams is getting incrementally better, because Kubiak is allowing that to happen. The Roschon 2 touchdown toss. I actually played him in DFS, Jamie.
Ooh, yeah, brag about it. Did you win big money off Roschon Johnson?
No, I didn't win big money. I didn't win big money because Roschon's pretty much the only one that I played well.
Everyone else sucked. He was your highest player.
Sucked. Except
the sick call of the week was the best call of the week, but that's a problem then.
It was rough. It was a rough. Purdy played bad. Not bad, but I mean, no one. I don't even know. I should have looked to see who the quarterback was in the one thing I was in that had because it had to be
Daniels. I mean, if you would have had Lamar or Burrow, like that,
I had Lamar, but I didn't have him with. I had a Lamar stack. No, I had Lamar in cash. I didn't play him in GPP. I don't think. I don't remember really. Quite honestly, I don't remember. But this guy had Burrow. He had Burrow. Burrow scored. He only scored like 0.36 points more than Lamar did. But he also had Tracy, and he had Jamar Chase.
He probably cost less than Lamar by enough of a margin.
Burrow
was the better play.
Purposely didn't play Chase because, like, last year, they clamped him down. They did not allow Chase to score 100 yards in 82 games.
The Ravens' pass defense has given up a ton this year. Like, this is the old, like, because the Bucs' run defense isn't the same as it used to be, but like the past few years, the Bucs' pass defense, you've wanted to target him, not because they're a bad pass defense, but because they're so good at running, the teams just abandon the run almost immediately because they have no success, and through volume, they get their passing. So the Ravens are actually a good target for receivers and tight ends because they're so good at defending the run.
I hit my Brian Con. I missed my parlay because friggin' Seattle can't contain New York Giants. That was a surprise game for me. Like, there was no way I thought in any conception that I had. Like, there were other teams I thought were underdogs that would win. There was no way I thought New York Giants would go to Seattle without Neighbors and beat Seattle.
Yeah.
That's
literally
crazy.
Best player on the whole team who happens to be a rookie.
And
since the Eagles and Packers took their former best players, which now is the Packers' best player this year. Love that, Xavier McKinney.
And when? That was just...
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
How many survivor pools are like...
Oh, my God. I heard, like, in week 3, most of them were down to, like, 40%.
I was talking to my co-host on the Full Press Fantasy Prod, Brad, and he was in a pool that they were done after week 3. Everyone got eliminated. And, I mean, I did a survivor pool. I took the Ravens week 2 against the Raiders. So, yeah.
I think I didn't play Survivor at all this year, but yeah, there was some crazy, and there's still crazy upsets. Like,
I play Survivor every year because I know it's not a big commitment. Because I'll tell you this, Gladys, I have never survived past week 3. It used to be like
week 3.
Week 3, I've played maybe a half dozen Survivor or maybe a dozen Survivor pools in my lifetime. Week 3, like that's the week. If I get to week 3, that's the week I'm getting eliminated. I remember the Steelers. Remember the Steelers it was like right in the middle of the Kaepernick controversy with the anthem, and there was that game they were playing the Bears, and Villanueva, who was a former Army Ranger, he went out for the anthem, but no one else did.
Yeah.
That team was in total disarray, and yet like they were trashing every other team through that season. Like Antonio Brown and Ben at their best probably, but that game was such a colossal because they were so just that I guess they were so confused about the anthem, and it seemed to permeate through the game, and they actually ended up losing that game. And it's like, okay, well, I'll get it next year. Like, okay, that was I kind of chalked it. Okay, that was a weird circumstance because like the Steelers were the right process. They should have beaten the Bears that week, but they didn't because of this other stuff. And I've been trying to chase ever since. It's like, oh, week 3, and in the last couple years, it's been week 1, immediately eliminated. And then when I thought it was going to happen too, because I picked the Bills week 1 this year. And if you remember week 1, they were playing the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were up like 14-0 to start and like 21-10 or whatever at halftime. And it looked, oh my God, there goes Survivor again. And the Bills came back and won, and I was like, oh yeah, I finally made it past week 1 again. Only for the Ravens to lose to the Raiders.
Well, I mean, I tried to pare down like the leagues I was in this year, because there were a lot of leagues I was in last year that I just got in because people asked, and I didn't really want to be in them after I got in them because for a variety of reasons. And then as I'm looking at my teams, I realized, oh, she's not happy. As I'm looking at my teams,
you're talking about your teams and not your dog? How dare you?
I know. I realized that like there are 2 leagues that I honestly didn't care and they were both like cut leagues, like you low points and you leave or whatever, guillotine leagues. And then I was like, I didn't really enjoy the draft process. I don't really care if I'm cut. Plus, going through a waiver wire in those leagues was ridiculous. Like, I can't.
I meant to unmute and click the wrong button. I agree. Like those, the Zombie League was fun for a couple of years, but it did take up so much time on Tuesday's waiver wire. I felt like I didn't do enough in other leagues on waivers because I was so focused on the Zombie League or like the one play. So I've tried to cut down on these like specialized formats.
I find that they're
a cool experiment, but
the what?
They're a cool experiment. I've tried them, but I don't love as much as just regular fantasy. So.
Oh my God, Jimmy, what is fucking wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
I won't show the comment actually.
Okay, good.
I'm just gonna click it up. I'll show this one that he hit Brian Thomas in a 100-yard parlay. We should have had the parlay on will Jamie make an outrageous comment. Sorry, I interrupted you, Gladys.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try a parlay tonight, but I think I'm gonna try a parlay and I'm gonna use our things, each one of ours. I think.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I would wait. What was yours?
Derek Carr lower than the 20.5 completion.
Don't know if I'm gonna use that one.
I'm gonna use mine and Dan's because Kyle's so bad at this.
No, if I go, so I would have to pick over or under, right? And if I go,
if you're picking the higher, that's not necessarily a stat that's going to help with the higher.
Well, yeah, but
go with okay.
No,
well,
I was gonna go by majority, and both of you picked under.
Yeah.
So I would pick under, but I honestly don't think it's gonna go under.
So if you want to pick the higher, I guess one of my so if you're going to go higher, the prop I would suggest that I was going to take was the Kareem Hunt receiving yard. So you can use that one for me to substitute the Carr completions.
And Kareem Hunt
go higher. I think it was 12.5 is what I saw that.
Wait, what are we doing? Kareem Hunt what?
Kareem Hunt receiving yards.
Receiving props.
Yeah.
I
saw it at 12.5.
Oh wait, I'm in receiving yards. That's not where I want to be.
Yeah, well, that is it. 12.5 receiving yards.
Oh. Okay. I don't know if they have Kareem Hunt.
Like I said, I saw it earlier, but then.
No, this isn't Underdog.
Oh, it's not Underdog. Okay.
Yeah, Underdog. I can only do pick'ems or something weird.
That's right.
Because of where I am, so I have to go to somewhere else.
So breaking news, which is hilarious. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, breaking news, even though it's not really breaking news because it's still unlikely and we don't know until tomorrow. But apparently the doctor, I guess in the pre-surgery that Rishi Rice is going through, I guess supposedly he's going through an exploratory surgery tomorrow to really figure out exactly how injured he is. Mm-hmm. It seems like even before that surgery, they have a good idea that they need to repair his LCL, and then they're going to see if there's extra ligament damage. I guess the hope is that there isn't, but we don't really know for sure. So it still sounds like he's out for the year. That's all to say, but we don't know that for sure until tomorrow. So it's breaking news, but it's still not really breaking news because we don't actually know anything.
Well, I mean,
thanks anyway, Jamie, for keeping us updated.
I have Kareem Hunt rushing yards.
What's that?
And I have Kareem Hunt rushing and receiving yards.
Is there the other one I was looking at was Jamal Williams just because it was so low
for rushing yards? For rushing yards?
Yeah.
Kamara, Hunt, Mahomes, Jamal Williams. What was it?
Well, I had it at 14.5. At least that's what I saw.
My choices are 25 plus 25 at plus 235. They really don't think he's gonna no one thinks Jamal Williams is gonna get, which is really weird. He had that really great year in Detroit, and then it just.
But it also wasn't necessarily yards, right? I mean,
touchdowns.
He'd get the good yards, but yeah, it was touchdowns. But it's also, again, it's right now betting against Taysom Hill, betting on the fact that Taysom Hill isn't there, right? That's kind of where the bet.
Yeah, but what about Kamara?
Yeah,
and Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau.
Well, yeah, those guys aren't going to run the ball though.
I know. All right, so far we have.
If you don't like that one either, I would say Worthy. If the Worthy receptions are there, that's probably a good one.
Worthy receptions. Wait, receptions. I don't think I have. I have receiving props. Receptions. Here we go. All right. Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, 3.5. Is that what you did? Over.
That's what I was seeing on Underdog. But so
over?
It's that price. Yeah, it's over if you think he's going to go over because he hasn't hit the over yet this year at all. But this is his first game without Rice. So are we he's gone 2 catches or 3 catches every game this year? So it's just, can you get that extra catch because Rice is out, right? Or those extra 2 catches because Rice is out. That's kind of what the bet is, and feels like 3.5 is low for what is probably who is the Chiefs' #1 wide receiver. But it's just, will they trust the rookie to be that? I kind of think so because they trusted Rice to do it last year.
Okay.
And this is kind of around the time where Rice had that big week 1 with the touchdown, but then he kind of disappeared a little bit for the next month and then really came back strong kind of around this time of year through the end of the year. So I kind of feel like it's that same timeline there for Xavier. So I kind of like that 3.5, almost the point where I almost want to change my Derek Carr prop to go with Worthy.
You talk yourself out of Derek Carr and on Xavier.
Well, it's more just talking myself into the Worthy, right? Like it's scary because he hasn't hit that yet, but I think it's reasonable to expect that he can hit that tonight.
All right, so we have Saints +5, Xavier Worthy over 3.5 receptions, Travis Kelce 70 plus yards, because my choices were 50 and 70. They didn't have a 60.
Better odds on the 70, yeah.
Better odds on the 70. And Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I think that's what we're gonna do. Boom, done. It's done.
And again, if you're betting on 70 yards, yeah, it's actually probably more likely that he scores a touchdown than gets 70 yards. So if he's going to get 70 yards, he's almost certainly getting a touchdown.
Yep.
Lattimore is not on the injury report, so he's going to play. So does that hurt Worthy, I suppose?
Well,
I'll keep it unconventional, and I'll go with the lower. I'll stick with Carr on the lower than completions. Just to...
All right. Did Jamie tell us what does he over parlay since he did so bad this year? I mean, this week. Does he not parlay in this game?
Yeah, I guess Jamie, if you want to mention any lines for tonight, or are you just sitting relaxing for the week and not worrying about this game?
Well, didn't he say that his parlays were bad except for the Thomas?
Yeah, he said he lost most of my parlays this week. Very bad week.
Yeah.
Don't chase your losses kind of thing. Like, okay, this is just a bad week. I'm just going to write it off as a bad week and try again next week kind of thing.
I don't subscribe to that theory, which is why I never go to Vegas and gamble.
Know your limits, right? Like
exactly.
My limit is I'm just not going to play. I know I'm going to lose it all.
I'm just going to keep playing until I win. It's got to happen.
I'll just join a new fantasy league. That'll be fine.
Well, I mean, the Guillotine League, which is why I was talking about it, is one of the leagues that I sat Kirk Cousins in and played. I'm pretty sure I played Andy Dalton, who had like 2 points. Why? Andy Dalton. That's another.
Never mind. Jamie has made bets. Rumors of his demise are greatly exaggerated. So this is a list of Jamie's bets. So he's got Chiefs money line, Travis Kelce touchdown, Olave over 40 receiving yards, Justin Watson higher than 25 receiving yards, Xavier Worthy higher than 25 receiving yards, Alvin Kamara higher than 25 receiving yards, and total over 31.5. So that'll be this is all one giant parlay, which is why you can, because if you're going to do like Jamie loves to do that, where he'll take an alternate line that's super low or super high, and then if it's super high, I'll pick the lower. Super low, I'll take the higher. But he throws it in a parlay so that it's not bad odds on it. You're not like minus 1,000 on the odds, right? Because you put in a parlay, it ends up as plus 1,100. And he boosted it to plus 1,650. That's how many legs that parlay. So we got moneyline Kelce, Olave, Watson, Worthy, Kamara, and the totals. That's a 7-leg parlay. Thank you, Jamie. That's some great content for the podcast.
What's the anytime touchdown too? Is plus 130, which is kind of crazy. I mean,
I mean, is it? Do you ever give you minus odds on touchdowns?
Yeah, Alvin Kamara anytime touchdowns minus 105.
Okay, Kamara. Yeah, I guess Kamara is that kind of player. So like for the elite running backs that normally do it, right? Like Barkley in an Eagles game will probably have it. Derrick Henry probably has it minus most games.
Olave 40. I'm not okay with Justin Watson. Xavier 25, I think is good. And then
Worthy can do that on one catch. So
and he's going. He took the total down to 31.5.
Yeah,
and he boosted. Oh my God, Jamie, you're crazy.
Keep it up. This is very interesting facts. Yeah, Jamie, our crazy friend Jamie, who's awesome. I love Jamie. Make sure to catch him on Tuesday nights for the fantasy cheat sheet, and there will, I swear, be a whole section of Roschon Johnson 2 touchdown talks. That's whole episode's probably going to be that. You watch anyway, even if you don't like Roschon.
Yeah, I think you should watch. Wait, at 31.5, who is he taking? He's taking the over?
Well, he took the Chiefs money line.
Right, but 31.5
total over 31.5.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's the game total.
Yeah. That's plus 428.
Kyron's a minus because of his team. It's not because of the team. It's because of the opportunity. Although I'll rant now, Jamie. Guess who got a goal line carry from the 1 yard line and didn't punch it in on 2nd and goal was Blake Corum. Guess who came in on the exact same play the next time, looked like it was blocked the exact same way. Kyron Williams scores the touchdown. So Kyron Williams clearly proved he's a superior goal line back to Blake Corum. Right now doesn't mean that Corum can't improve on that through his career, but very clearly the Rams are rightfully giving Kyron the majority of goal line carries as they should, since he clearly can score touchdowns and like one of the best rates in the league. So
okay,
there was definitely a couple of plays that weren't blocked well. Kyron's not overly fast long speed, and that was, he fell because of his combine.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got good burst. He's got good vision, and he knows how to use it properly. So he's a good running back. This talk that he's not a good running back is he's not a great athlete, but how often do you run 40 yards free in the NFL? Right? Like, it's so rare to have a 40-yard run because defenses are so good. So your 40-yard speed isn't as important as your 10-yard speed. And Kyron's got decent 10-yard speed, it looks like.
All right. Do you want to review our picks?
Sure. Yeah. Kyron rant over. So unanimous pick again. When was the last time we had one of those? I think we've been so bad on them that
I think it was the Eagles, you said, right? And we lost.
Actually, week 3, one of the double headers, we all took the lower on the Commanders Bengals game that turned out crazy shootout where the Commanders basically covered it on their own. So yeah, that was a disaster. So last week we didn't have any unanimous picks, but yeah, we're all going with the Saints as 5.5-point underdogs on the road. So we'll see if relying on Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, the flaw of the system, right? It's so crazy, it just might work. Dan and I also going with lower than 43.5 combined points in the game, whereas Gladys, you're taking the higher on that one.
Yep.
As for our props, Gladys, you're going with defensive prop here. I guess it's your second defensive prop of the year. Chris Jones, half a sack higher. So the first time any of us have taken a sack prop yet this year. I'm actually going for the first time this year lower. Actually, first time in 3 years, personally, I've gone lower, but first time any of us have gone lower on a prop. I'm taking Derek Carr lower than 20.5 completions. And Dan is going higher than 61.5 receiving yards on Travis Kelce. And you can check Dan's show, the show that is Dan, the B-League prop show. And he'll expand further on why he took Kelce specifically, as well as a couple other props in there. If you want to watch the next 2 minutes before the game kicks off. But this was fantastic, Gladys. Glad we could do this again.
So you don't need to be a good athlete in athletics sports. Interesting theory, I guess.
Yeah, no, you don't, Jamie, when it's the least important position. You'd much rather better athletes on your O-line to block for your running back than like bad O-line athletes with an amazing athletic running back. If they can't block anything for him, he's never going to be able to use his speed. So
Peyton Manning is a great quarterback. I don't know if he's a good athlete.
Yeah, not every position requires the speed and athleticism in the same type of way. But also, running back is objectively one of the least important positions. Like, knowing how to use your offensive line is far more important than just your overall speed. Being able to see the blocks coming, and so the vision is important. And Kyron's got good footwork too. Like technically, he's a better runner than Corum because Corum's footwork isn't great. Like, that's why I didn't love him coming out of college. So like that it's how you move. It's kind of how you move in football is sort of super important. So technique is more important than athleticism at almost every position. Like Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins have proven that. Like, their 40 times weren't great. All-time great wide receivers because Hopkins' hand technique is so good. Devontae Adams, the footwork and like ability to separate off the line of scrimmage is so great that like Antonio Brown has been like the best receiver we've seen in this generation. Wasn't a super fast athlete burner. Great technique though. So technique trumps athleticism almost every time, which is why part of my rookie scouting, footwork is such a key component of that. Like the tape grade, like there's a burst aspect to it, and speed is important, but the footwork to me is the most important aspect. And Kyron trumps Corum in that regard. Like he's just a better technical runner. Corum has time to learn and develop it, but he still has to learn quite a lot to get better than Kyler. Now we're talking tight end. That's a whole different animal. Tight end, especially for fantasy, all we want is athleticism. So it's also what position does it matter at more? In some positions, it matters a lot more. Because Jamie and I go crazy for tight ends with their athletic scores. I'm totally with you on that one, Jamie. It's not as important on running backs. Like I would say, athleticism is the most important thing for tight ends. Because like, who's going to get yards after the catch if most of their targets are coming, short A dot, right? Like who's Tucker Kraft that can take us, a 20-yard pass and take it 60 yards for a touchdown, right? Like we saw that for the Packers. That's where the athleticism really makes a difference, is at tight ends. Running back, it's important. It's more important, I would say, than wide receiver, but it's not as important as it is for tight ends. So it's a descending scale depending on the position. Julia's joining us. She loves seeing both of us, and I love seeing Julia in the comments. It's great. I'm sure Gladys agrees with me on that one. We're doing great on this beautiful Monday night. Although I think it is raining here, but there's hurricanes happening all over the place, so I'm not going to complain about a little rain.
Yeah, my sister's in the eye of the hurricane. Terry.
Oh yeah, no, that's right.
Tampa.
Oh yeah, that looks like they're going to get bad in the next couple of days.
She's boarded up. They're boarded up.
Yeah, I've seen there's like evacuation orders for some of the coastal places, maybe a little further south than Tampa. It seems like Tampa's kind of in line with maybe where things will hit. Kurt Cobain is not a great athlete. Oh, sorry, I thought that said Kurt Cobain. Jesus, I've been sick the last couple of days. My mind is warped.
How are you feeling?
Just a little stuffy. A little bit of
you have a cold or COVID? What do you have?
No, just a cold.
Summer colds are the worst.
Yeah,
summer colds are the worst.
Summer, it's fall. Man, it was 4 degrees today. It's definitely not summer anymore.
It's not 4 degrees here.
Well, it was
ridiculous.
It was 40 degrees today, which is cold, right? 80. Like that's not summer. Kirk Cousins not a great athlete, and good quarterback. And again, quarterback is a position where athleticism probably matters the least amount. Although we're getting to the point where Jaden Daniels is kind of changing that too. And Jamie loves your new house, Gladys.
As long as
bought it with all the winnings off this.
I don't know that I'd have a pool because my dogs aren't that smart, so they would probably drown. I'd have to jump in and save them. So
by the way, there's very few hurricanes that ever hit Canada. It's usually, if they will, it'll be the East Coast, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, St. John, Newfoundland at times. Yeah, there's been like every couple decades there's a tornado in Sudbury, but we're not nearly close enough to an ocean ever have to worry about a hurricane. Too many mountains around too. So rest and water. I'm definitely drinking a lot of water.
What did your wife cook for you last week? You didn't know what you were gonna have, and
geez, I don't know. I can't even remember. Monday.
You were very excited for it, but okay.
It smelled good. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
I didn't describe it at all. Like I didn't give any hints.
You didn't know what it was. You didn't know what she was cooking. You said
it just smells good. Yeah.
Have you had lots of chicken soup?
Let's think. Last week she made it like over the weekend a couple of different soups. So actually, you know what? She might have made like a curry soup on Monday, and there was still some left over this weekend for me.
Williams just ran for 9 yards.
Williams?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have gone with that 14 rushing yards there. Joe Montana, not a great athlete, but GOAT. I mean, Tom Brady, the greatest football player of all time, he ran like a 5-1-2 or something. like most offensive linemen are running better 40s than Tom Brady ran. Greatest quarterback of all time, right? So not every position does it matter as much. It might matter more at tight end, linebacker. It probably does matter at those because like all the offensive linemen are bigger and defensive linemen are so much bigger. The guys that are fast, like it really probably makes a difference at those positions. Like those guys aren't running in the 4s, but the offensive lineman that can run, the O lineman that can run a 4.9, like oh my god, they're going to be one of the best O linemen in the game. Actually, I don't even know if that's realistic, but so there's certain positions where the athleticism really does matter more than others. To a certain extent, running back might, but I think for fantasy-wise, I've always really focused on the tight ends. Like, to me, that's almost scouting. That's the most important part to scout your tight end is what are they as an athlete? Then I'll worry about draft capital afterwards. Running backs, it's there, but there's several factors. I'm looking more at footwork and technique. I'm looking more at college production. That I think is more important than athleticism. So it's athleticism is like maybe the fifth, maybe I'll say fourth most important thing for running back. So that's my whole spiel. Yao Ming, not a great athlete. I don't know if most basketball players are pretty good athletes. Like that's a tough one. It's like hockey players. Like there's no bad athlete that's a hockey player, because if you're a bad athlete, there's no way you can keep up on the ice. Like, the game is too fast for bad athletes. In football, there's so many different positions that not everyone's athleticism shines because of their position. Baseball, it really doesn't matter because nothing matters about baseball.
Derek Carr, interception.
Hey, it's not a completion. That's good for me. Not the league I started Carr in, but that's okay.
He was 2 for 2. Until
as long as he's not 20 for something. Well, actually, he can be 20 for something. Just don't be 21 for something.
Kareem Hunt.
Whoop. God, as if I'm going lower on a prop. I'm not watching tonight's game, so I'm not going to be stressed about it. I think that'll help.
No, not at all.
Because no one actually wants to watch the Chiefs, right? They're like the most boring, least entertaining team. Like no one is talking about them at all. Like who would do they even exist? Conspiracy theory. I love these. There was a mock draft conspiracy episode this year. That was a lot of fun. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember. That was a fun episode. Did you see the conspiracy theory that Myles Garrett and Kobe are the same person? How? Myles Garrett was born long before Kobe died. So how is that even possible? They don't even look alike. I think their body types aren't anywhere similar. Man, some of these conspiracy theories are just getting stupid. Like, they don't even make sense. Like, at least, make it make sense. Like, you want to tell me the moon landing was fake? Sure, there's some things that make sense to it. Okay, but this, right? Like, am I crazy to think that this is just nuts?
Conspiracy theorists make my head hurt. I mean, whatever. I'm not really big.
I find some of them very interesting. I do. Like, especially the ones that are well researched in details, like,
I used to find them interesting until people decided that they were just going to spew out shit and not research it and not.
Oh yeah, those are awful. But like the good, well researched conspiracy theory, I can respect that, admire that. Effort goes into it. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of them that are kind of this is just throwing stuff at a wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What? Patrick Mahomes and Kareem Hunt both have rushing stats right now. What is happening?
No. Scramble. Because we know Andy Reid doesn't actually design runs for Patrick Mahomes ever since he dislocated his kneecap. Never again. QB sneak? Nope, that's out of the playbook. Never again. Well, I'd rather my players do a ring around the rosy merry-go-round before the snap than let Patrick Mahomes take a QB sneak. Only for playing the Raiders.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Yao barely needed to jump for the basket, too. He could just, high five the rim standing next to it. So, yeah, Julie's got a good point. AFK was staged. Yeah, no, that's definitely a classic one that it's, inside job. I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole of, who wanted JFK dead. I'm sure there's tons of people that want every president dead. There's going to be interest there, whether it's financial or otherwise. Certainly the whole Cuban aspect, Soviets putting nukes in Cuba, JFK not necessarily being ready for a full-scale invasion, so the CIA wanted him assassinated so they could do it, and other reasons. There's tons of reasons it could have been. Or he never died, and he's still alive. He's like, I'm done being president. I'll let people admire me because I died, but actually still be alive. Hey, I saw Elvis the other day. I was also listening to the song Le Complot by Exterior, and that's the conspiracy in French. So they definitely referenced a lot of that.
Kelsey already has 25 yards.
Dan's probably going to hit his. We're one drive in, so he's going to hit it at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that it was staged. Okay, the conspiracy is that he was staged. That it wasn't actually killed. That it was all staged to make it look like he's dead. And he was actually
all right, when you guys talk conspiracy, I'm gonna go feed my dogs.
yeah. We've dived this far into conspiracy. It's probably time to end the stream. But thank you, Julia. You love a good conspiracy theory. Maybe we'll make it a weekly segment, Monday night conspiracies. But thank you, Julia. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us in the chat.
Thank you, guys.
I'd say good luck on your prop betting, but it's already the game's locked in. So at this point,
exactly. Nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us again on this great Monday night. Gladys Tyler, Kyle Senra, the two co-hosts with all the power here on the 2-point conversion.
And we will see you next Monday. I will see you Thursday, maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Elvis. Elvis in the loony bin. To be fair, Jamie, I'm pretty crazy, so that's probably where I belong. So
bye, guys.
Yeah, bye. We're gonna head out of here now. Talk to you next week. Gladys already ran because I'm that crazy, but we'll talk to you next time on the 2-point conversion for week 6, which I believe is Bill.